Well, good afternoon everyone. We have just come off the back of one of the best weekends I can remember in such a long time. If you follow Lydia or I over on Instagram, you'd have seen that we threw a British garden party for all our family, and then in the evening we had some of our friends join us just to celebrate everything that we weren't able to celebrate over the past 12 months. So we went about having a huge tablescape done that seated 30 people, a gin van which was actually like a horse car, and we also had a pasta van which was from the Little Pasta Company, and then we had a grazing table and 5 cakes to celebrate a load of different occasions. Can't remember them all off the top of my head, but it was like achievements, congratulations, birthday, New Year and Christmas, I think. But it was just really lovely to get everyone together. We had our nieces and nephews here as well, so we had a little tent set up as a little PlayStation for them to hang out in, which was really cool as well. And it was just such good vibes. Everybody, I think, really enjoyed that social again. We ended up going to bed probably around about 2 AM. It was quite a heavy one, to say the least, but it was absolutely thoroughly enjoyed by all. So if you want to go and see actually what we got up to, what it looked like, because Nicole, who organised our wedding, was actually involved in putting this party together, because Lydia messaged her, I think it was 5 days before, but she said it was 10 days before. But it was not long before the actual party itself, and they just managed to string this thing together last minute. We also had a music guy as well here doing some acoustic sessions and also DJing for us. So it was just amazing to pull that together so quickly. Lydia's basically vlogged it. So if you want to go and see what we got up to on Saturday, then head over to her channel because that's all on there. I didn't see the point in vlogging it as well because it would just be duplicated content. Plus I wanted to enjoy myself and just completely unwind. So yeah, that was brilliant. But today we are going to be doing something that is a little bit different to what I normally do this time of year. I think I mentioned in my last video the A word, and we were supposed to be getting a heat wave, and it definitely is not happening because we have just had a grey sky for the last couple of days and the temperature's dropping. I think it's like 16, 18 degrees or something. But last night I was at an event in London, actually. I could definitely feel the cold was coming. Oh, let me just grab that, I'll be back with you. Thank you, boys. So yeah, as I was saying, last night I would say was the first time that I felt the evenings really chilling out, which is a sign that autumn's on its way. And normally at this time of the year, I will do a autumn clear out video where I just basically go through my wardrobe and just get rid of a load of clothes that I don't need anymore, they don't fit me or I don't want them. And as you guys will probably know, I've made a little bit more of a conscious effort to invest a little bit more in those wardrobe pieces. So I haven't been consuming as many products as I normally do, which means that I will have a lot less to get rid of this year. But the reason why I referenced the event was because I wanted to wear a suit to it last night. And something else that you guys may be aware of as well is that I actually put on a stone probably about 2 or 3 months ago, and I haven't worn that many suits in that period of time, to be honest with you. And last night when I slipped on my trousers, I had 2 navy suits. They're in perfect condition and I absolutely love the suits, and they were very tight on the thighs. And I think that's just to do with a little bit of weight gain, which was good weight gain, by the way. I wanted to gain that weight, but I had a lot of these suits made a long time ago when either I was a lot smaller or I didn't want to have slightly looser fitting clothes. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to do anything with those, because it's easy to tailor clothes down but harder to expand and give more room in clothes. It depends how much fabric's left inside the lining. So we'll see. But we're going to be going through my wardrobe today to basically see what pieces I have that need fixing or repairing, because I've got a couple of jackets that I know the pockets are ripped on, what items need tailoring again, and to keep an eye out basically if there are any pieces that I'd like to add into my wardrobe this season, because we are now coming into the autumn winter months. It's time for a little bit of a wardrobe change. I still have a couple of little trips coming up where I'm going to need some summer clothes, so they're not going to be filed away at all, but it's really just to go through and organise and see where I'm at with all of my pieces from autumn, because it's been so long, hasn't it, since we've like probably really dressed up regularly for the autumn months, because last year we were obviously in lockdown, so Most of us probably spent a lot of our time in casuals, or certainly not dressing up as frequently as we used to. I can't really remember all of the items I have, so I just want to go through everything, see how things fit, see what I've got. If there are any gaps in my wardrobe, then I can look to pick up some pieces again where I make some good investments. So that's where we're at, and that is the plan of action for today. I also have that loft space in my wardrobe, which just tends to pick up so much clutter. I don't know why, because I try and keep it as organised as I can, but I actually physically can't get in it at the moment. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a load of stuff out of there, because I am travelling a little bit again, which means that I do need to have my suitcases and luggage accessible, and that is where I leave that stuff. And at the moment it's really hard to get them out because I've just got boxes everywhere. A nice sort out in there today as well. So it's currently about 12 o'clock. We have a little bit of cake left over, so I might make myself a coffee, have a slice of cake, and then head upstairs and start tackling the wardrobe and that loft space. So it's a huge amount of work, but I'm up for doing it today. The only challenge that I do have actually is Lydia's out today shooting part of her Karen Millen campaign, and because, as you guys will know, she has collections that come out, they take my clothes stands and use them to hang all of the pieces up for her collection. So I've actually only got one, which is going to make my life extremely hard today. So I'm going to go up into our other loft space and see if I can find any spare rails in there, because we're going to need that today. To make my life easier, we're going to need that anyway. And just before we do go upstairs, I actually have just received two very bougie gifts from the postman. Not from the postman, they didn't gift me them, the brands did. So we have Tom Ford fragrance here, ombre leather, some of you may be familiar with. This is the new Parfum. This is a fragrance that's got a very woody and floral kind of note to it. It's a little bit like, I find it quite musky almost, which is perfect for the autumn winter months, because I like that kind of warmth in my fragrance coming into the autumn. And then the second is a lovely gift from Dior. So Dior have just launched the new Dior Sauvage Elixir fragrance, and they've actually sent it out with a lovely book that you can see here. Amazing photo on the front, which I'll probably keep this in my office actually. It says Sauvage Elixir. There's the fragrance there. Lovely. So I've not actually smelt this yet, so I'm going to have to give it a try, but it's an unexpected scent, they say. So interested to give this a whirl and see what it's like. Obviously Sauvage, the original, is a very popular fragrance, so I'm sure this will live up to expectations. The fragrance was actually created by Francois Demichi, who actually creates all of the Dior perfumes or fragrances, so we'll give that a try in a second. And speaking of fragrances actually, it's been a little while since I've sat down and spoke about fragrances, so maybe just before we get really stuck into sorting out the wardrobe, I'll perhaps go through a few fragrances that I think it's worth keeping an eye on over the coming months, because for me personally, I find when I'm in the summer months and the spring months, I like things to be quite like citrusy and really, really sweet and very light. And as we come into those autumn winter months, I prefer my fragrances to be a lot more woody and musky and oody, and a little bit of spice in there as well. So I'm going to put out a few fragrances and maybe talk to you about some fragrances that I think it's worth keeping an eye on. Certainly if you're looking for a new fragrance yourself, or if you're looking for a fragrance as a gift to somebody, I think these are fragrances that are going to be very well received. So as you can see, we've just got the last couple of bits that need to be collected from the weekend party. So yeah, it was a big clear up on Sunday, let me tell you. Wasn't the easiest with a little hangover. We've got the boys out in the garden today. I'm looking after Bolly whilst the girls are on set. What, lads? Porty, come. Bolly, come. Good boy. Come on. You sit. Good boy. Bolly's missing out, isn't he? Bolly! Bolly, come! Gently, gently. Good boy. Bolly, come. 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 Sit. Sit. Please. Say please. Say please. Good boy. Good boy. That's your next trick, isn't it, Porter? Say please. Like your brother Bolly. Eh? Yes, we'll teach you that one soon. Or not. Little sausage. You showing me a toy now? Yeah, you showing me a toy. Two best friends in a room. They might kiss. Or slap each other in the face with a towel. Towel? Tail. So this right here is actually a gluten-free chocolate cake because some of our guests obviously needed to have gluten-free, and you wouldn't know. It's absolutely delicious. You wouldn't be able to tell me otherwise. I think it was a normal cake. So yeah, enjoy a slice of that. And actually, we had a Victoria sponge which we had about a quarter left of, and I put it in the fridge, and Liz was like, "Oh, you're not supposed to put cake in the fridge," and I'm like, "Oh. Is that a thing? I don't know." Apparently so. So I might have ruined some of the Victoria sponge cake. Let's get this cut. It was so good, Porter, and you're not having any. Okay, so I've just pulled a couple of fragrances. We're going to need to make this quite quick because I am slowly running out of time in the day, but as we've just spoke about, we've obviously got the Tom Ford Ombre Leather here. Now this is the EDP. They also do a parfum version as well. The performance of the fragrance is going to last a lot longer. If you ever have the option to buy an EDP over an EDT, which is Eau de Toilette versus Eau de Parfum, I would always suggest going for the EDP if you can. So yeah, Tom Ford, great fragrance coming into the autumn months. So next up you can see we've got the Bulgari Man. I'm going to be working on this on Thursday on my Instagram, so you're going to see this pop up, but this is such a beautiful fragrance coming into autumn. It has vetiver and orris in it, which loads of you will know that I absolutely love vetiver as a fragrance. And it's got a lot of earthy base notes. I kind of almost get an oud from this as well. It doesn't have an oud in it as far as I can see anyway, but yeah, really stunning fragrance coming into autumn. And then Oud and Bergamot, which is a Jo Malone fragrance just here. This is one of those fragrances that I just absolutely love wearing. It's really warm, and it's one of those fragrances that really projects well because of the oud in it. So absolutely love that. And then next up you'll see we've got Luby Crown. Some of you may remember I worked on the Luby World Le Boutin collection back in, I think it actually might have been in 2020. Very luxurious fragrances that all project really well. This has got patchouli, cedarwood and tonka bean in it. Tonka bean is one of those fragrance notes that always draws me in. I absolutely love it. A very woody, oriental kind of fragrance. I wear this all the time, and it's one of those fragrances that just gets lots and lots of compliments. Now back onto Bulgari, you'll notice the white lid. I'm showing you that on purpose because these Bulgari colognes actually all look very similar apart from the lids are slightly different colours. So this is the Opalon. I'm not sure if that's exactly how you pronounce it. This is quite a floral undertone to it, but what is really prominent for my nose in this fragrance is the muskiness. And I spoke about it having that really like sort of deep musky scents throughout the autumn winter. They just work really well. And if you're looking for a fragrance that's really going to project, my friend Alex was wearing this the other day actually, and I kept on complimenting him on how nice he smelled because it was just really, really strong, and it's very pleasant as well. So great fragrance. Now, as you can see, I've got my go-to fragrances that I'm using at the moment. Ambrioni, this is an amazing men's fashion brand actually, do some beautiful tailoring. That is a beautiful fragrance. It's going to go very well into autumn winter. And then the last few over here. First up, I need to get some more of this. I actually ran out of this. I wore this on the weekend. I've got a little dribble left. This is YSL's Tuxedo, and this is possibly Lydia's favourite fragrance at the moment that I wear. Whenever I stick it on, she's always very complimentary of it. Again, this has got bergamot in it, which seems to be a nice sort of note that goes into a lot of the fragrances that I like. It's also got black pepper in it, so you get that slight spice. So this is like a nice spicy oriental fragrance that works really well on evenings out, especially when it's quite a nice smart evening and you want to smell very sort of luxurious. This is one of those fragrances that's going to really hit the spot. And then to the right you'll see, and also hopefully recognise, Carolina Herrera Bad Boy. Worked on this fragrance now for a couple of years. It's an absolutely fantastic fragrance. Quite a few of my friends actually wear this now. It's another spicy sort of ambery fragrance. It's got white pepper in it and black pepper, bergamot again, and tonka beans. So as you can see, that there's quite a reoccurring pattern here of some of the notes that go into the fragrances that I really love. Again, it's got those really woody bass notes in it, so absolutely lovely. And then last but not least, Hugo Boss EDP. Now, oh, I just noticed this actually isn't the EDP. Where is the EDP? Aha, there's the EDP. As you can see, quite similar looking bottles because they are all part of the Boss bottled pillar. But anyway, this is the EDP here. That one you just saw was the limited edition United bottle. But the EDP yet again has some very similar notes, although this does have apple in it, which is a fragrance note that a lot of the others don't have. And that is because, of course, it's part of the Boss bottled pillar, where the Boss bottled classic has apple in it. So some of the notes in here are black pepper, bergamot again, and cinnamon, chestnut, and then we've got that really musky base with vetiver in it. So as you can imagine, just from hearing those notes, it's right up my street. And I guess there is a slight common sort of theme running through here, as I just mentioned a second ago with the notes, and that is exactly why I would suggest these fragrances to be considered through autumn winter, because they really do tick all those boxes for me. So what I'll do, because I know that was super quick, I will write down a list of these fragrances in the description box below for you to check out. Trust me, there is so many fragrances on the market. I'm absolutely flooded with fragrances. It's actually quite scary, to be honest with you, how many fragrances I have. And that isn't half of it. I've got a load stacked away in my shoe cupboard as well. So these are just a few of many that I would suggest you check out. Some of the ones that I'm also wearing a lot myself at the moment. So yeah, we'll get those down in the description box. But now it's time to take on today's task, the main event. We're going to be sorting out the wardrobe. So essentially what we've got is a few different sections here in my wardrobe. So because we're focusing primarily on looking at my sort of autumn collection of clothes, I'm not going to spend too much time working on shirts and stuff like that. But at the bottom, these are a lot of autumn jackets. So I've started to really fill out this section, and as you can see, they're all getting very squashed. So I do need to go through my half-length jackets, and then if I open up this wardrobe here, these are basically all of my suits, which I referenced earlier. I'm a little bit nervous about because I'm concerned that a lot of the suits that used to fit me nicely, or I thought fitted me nicely, actually don't fit me that well. So I'm going to have to go through these jackets and suits and see what fits and what doesn't, and see if we can get any alterations to try and make them fit. So that's going to keep me very busy. And then I want to really clear out what's going on the floor down here. There's lots of trousers and joggers and stuff like that, and jeans that I need to look through. And then my trousers at the top, they are all pretty good, but there are a lot of the trousers that I was wearing throughout the summer. That's this wardrobe. And then what you just saw me pull out were pretty much all my sort of long coats. Everything that is too long to go into one of those wardrobes there has to go at the end where it has the full drop. So we're going to try these on first, because these are the jackets that are really going to be sort of starting to be worn a lot more. And as I mentioned, there are a few of them that have got a few issues. So the pockets in them I know are damaged and need repairing, and I want to check fits and stuff like that. So I need to go through all of this, which is what we'll do in a second. Pointless looking at that for the moment, because that's just pretty much summer stuff with a couple of autumn jumpers, and then I need to go through the sweaters. So let's get busy, trying stuff on and seeing what does and what does not fit. Okay, so I've just switched over to my other camera because my latest camera keeps on overheating. I don't know why, very strange. Possibly gonna have to buy a new camera again. This is the camera that I used to vlog on that's got the scratch on the screen. You won't be able to see it, but when the sunlight hits it or whether we're outside, there's always that little white spot. Very annoying. So anyway, we're indoors, it's okay. I've just tried on all of my coats and jackets from the long jacket wardrobe, even though they're not all long. Most of them are. They're my outerwear, should we say, as opposed to this cupboard that I've got slightly different style of jackets in, like suedes and linens and stuff like that, shirlings and whatever, leathers. I've just spun the rails around so we get a little bit better light on them, and as you do, I've colour coordinated everything. So I wanted to lay it out like this because I wanted to talk through the way in which I'm processing all of this. So firstly, most of these coats still fit me okay. The issue that I found with a few of them, and in particular the Zara stuff, was the slim fit sleeves are very slim. And so whilst they will be absolutely fine in the autumn if I'm wearing a very thin knit or a t-shirt, as we're coming into the winter months, I'm not going to get big knits and probably jumpers underneath them. So that could be something that's an issue and potentially a factor as to why they might be leaving my wardrobe this season. The other thing that I think that you may have seen, I just tried to highlight it then, is some of the jackets had rips or tears in the lining inside, either in the pockets, around the armpit. Every single one of those pieces that I showed that had that happened to be a Zara piece. These pieces aren't new. You know, I've had these jackets for maybe 3, 4, some of them even 5 years. So they're not, you know, super new clothes. I've got lots to wear out of them, but they just don't tend to last as long in terms of the durability. Obviously, I highlighted on the Reese jacket here, I'd actually got a stain on it. I think that this will hopefully wash off. But you see, you get the odd stain on the jacket, and sometimes the dry cleaner can't get them out, which, you know, absolutely fine jacket, but unfortunately got stained or damaged whilst I was out, and there's nothing you can really do about that. But the reason why I've lined them up is because I guess my jackets are kind of in sections. So here you've got like functional outerwear, so waterproofs, windbreakers, things that are like more functional, and they're all black apart from one green All Saints windbreaker at the front. You particularly need to have 3 sort of like puffer jackets. This pewtery jacket here is possibly my favorite because it's a really functional jacket that's going to keep me very, very warm, and it also looks really smart. I like the sleeves on it. I also like the fact that it's got this sort of like gilet look to it as well. So I'm definitely going to keep that, and I think I'm going to switch this Gymshark jacket out that I've had again for many, many years and put that down into my gardening clothes section where I go out in the winter and do bits in the garden. So that's going to work really nicely because I actually need some new stuff for the garden, and rather than go out and buy new clothes for the garden, this will do just fine. I really like this jacket when I've got to just run out to the shops. This is by Polo Ralph Lauren, and so that will be staying in here. And then these are like my 3 windbreakers. So I've got the North Face, Gymshark and All Saints. Having a colour option is always great. This jacket here is extremely thin and very, very light. So when we're going hiking, this is like a dream because you can roll it up really small and it doesn't weigh anything really. So that's perfect. And then this jacket here is more of like a waterproof, more so than the windbreaker, and has a little bit more weight in the fabric, which means it's a little bit warmer. So I do want to keep this jacket, but I want to clear some wardrobe space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this up and put this into my thermals drawer where I have my sort of more functional clothes, because that can go in there with that. Potentially do the same with these two as well, actually, which will make a little bit more space in there. So this is going down into the garden, these will stay. Now this section here of navy long coats, I've got a couple of Paddington jackets, which you would have seen the Tommy Hilfiger one here, which is quite a statement piece because it's got the huge gold hardware on it, and also got red, white and navy stripes down the back, and then this velvet collar, which I find this is really cool. The only issue I find with this jacket is it is a bit snug, but that's fine because it is so big and thick. I've actually worn this in the winter with just a t-shirt underneath, and it is more than warm enough. That's going to be staying. The Reese overcoat, this is a very formal overcoat for suits. It's got the tie back on the back of it. You can see I tried the brown one on just a second ago. They're going to be staying. This jacket here from Zara is one of the jackets that Lydia absolutely loves. So I'm going to be keeping that, and it actually doesn't have any damages on it at the moment, which is fantastic. So that can stay. This Reese overcoat can stay. The French Connection jacket needs the sleeves bringing up on them because they're a little bit too long. This Hackett jacket will be staying, and I'm not sure about the Oliver Sweeney coat yet because it was very slim fit. I think this will see me through the autumn. Not sure if it will make it through the winter, but that's not a bad thing because I can switch it up a little bit. And then moving on, we've got the All Saints Reese Zara and Reiss coats here, which are my like neutral tones. So this is probably my favorite color palette out of all of my collection, and the greens at the back actually. But this Boss jacket is exactly why it's worth investing money in your pieces, because I've had this now for a few years. I picked it up in Bicester. I wear this whenever we're going out for dinner really. It's really comfortable. It's got nice thick sleeves that don't make the jacket too big but give enough space for anything I'm wearing underneath. It's been tailored beautifully. It's a double breast. It just feels like it did when I brought it still. So this is exactly why you should invest in your pieces, and this is an example why you should as well, because this is a Zara coat that has just fallen apart, and yeah, I think this is potentially the jacket that I'm going to have to lose, which so far you've got 2 black ones in the wardrobe, all of this lot here. One's going into the garden section, and then this jacket might be going. I might even get it repaired and then do a little hand-me-down to someone, rather than send it off to charity damaged, because it wouldn't take 2 seconds to have that stitched back up again. So that may be going. And then the other 2 jackets here, this is from Zara as well, right? And there isn't any pockets inside, so there's nothing to rip, which is fine. It's stretch fit, 4-way stretch, and it is so comfortable and so warming in the winter that I think I may have to keep that. And then at the very end here, these are my country pieces. So we've got the Jules, Todd's, Schoffel, and our killer jacket here. These are all pretty recent pickups. The Todd's jacket was kindly sent out. So I'm not going to be replacing any of these. I'm really happy, they all fit very lovely. They're the long jackets that we've gone through. And at the tailors at the moment, I've got a beige and black trench coat, which you would have seen over on my Instagram. I actually filmed a video just before I took it into the tailors, and I told them there's no rush because I don't need it till autumn. And we're getting to that point now, so I'm going to start pestering Scott at Suster to get that back off of him, because I think a trench coat is a perfect jacket to have in autumn, because they're not too thick, but of course they're weatherproof, so they're going to be able to hold the rain off. They're going to keep you sheltered from the wind, and they're very, very timeless coats. Like, they're very iconic, and of course Burberry, very famously known for their trench coats. Mine's from Trench London, and I'm over the moon with it. They're beautiful jackets. So yeah, I do have that. What do I think I need more in my wardrobe? Well, to be honest with you, I'm feeling like I've got a nice collection. One thing I'd say that my collection of long coats are lacking are probably a little bit more premium quality. Like the Boss jacket that I mentioned to you a second ago, I can really feel the difference as soon as I put it on. In comparison to a lot of the jackets from Zara, for example, I could definitely tell the difference in the quality of the build. And of course, I know that's reflected in the price, but I would like to maybe look at reducing the amount of similar coats I have, because I don't really need 3 grey herringbone or dogtooth style coats. There's no need for it. I would like to have maybe a nicer quality version of one of these coats that I get so much enjoyment out of wearing, and I'll probably wear these coats out until they're no good, like this one here. I think that's something that I could possibly do with adding into my collection. But I think I've got most things covered. I've got my trench coat, I've got my sort of country attire walking coats, I've got my functional coats on the side. There are a few pieces that I'd like to change. I might eventually replace my beige overcoat if we can't tidy this up and get the stains out of it. I'd possibly look to get another smart woolen overcoat. This is a jacket, again, exactly the same as this Reiss coat here. Fits lovely. It's got quite a few stains on it now that I'll try and get cleaned out and tidied up. And you can see that these are starting to pull a little bit, but I have had these coats for, like I say, it must be like 4 or 5 years. So they have served me very well. But I think that maybe I would look to invest in some like really nice pieces, but it's something that happens over time. I'm not just going to fill my wardrobe with a load of high-end quality pieces at once, so I'm just slowly going to build that collection up. But I'm quite happy with the variety of jackets I have. It's quite a big job going through your wardrobe and sorting out like all of the items of clothes and trying to see what it is that you want to keep and what you don't want to keep. But I feel like I'm starting to put a wardrobe together where I feel like this is the first time I've been putting on clothes and I've not thought like, oh, I wouldn't wear this. What was I thinking? I'm finding like a lot of the pieces that I'm putting on, they're quite sort of neutral and safe, which is what contributes to that kind of like timeless element, I think. So yeah, it's really just coming down to whether the item of clothing is getting too old and worn that I need to replace it. and also maybe the lack of quality in the piece itself when I purchased it however many years ago. So a few little tweaks at the tailors. We'll see if any bits can be repaired. I might try to slim down the number of jackets I have and replace any that need to be replaced with some slightly higher quality pieces in the future, because I know I'm going to get the wear out of them, and I know I'm still enjoying wearing them. So that's the long coats done. I'm going to do the same again now with the mid-length jackets, try them on, see what it is that I want to keep and what I don't, and rather than show you the process of me putting them all on again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through them, and then I'm going to talk you through what it is that I found from that little collection of clothes. So I have been trying on a couple of little pieces and showing you, because I actually wanted to talk to you about the denim jackets, because what I've found is a little bit of a trend of me buying very similar pieces, and I understand my kind of like theory and logic behind it, not so much the necessity. Certainly in the long jackets over there, I noticed that I had quite a lot of navy jackets, and there are different styles, and there is definitely a place for having the same colour of clothing in different styles. And I think the reason why I wanted to try on the denim jackets was because there are different colours and different styles. There's like festival vibe, and you've got like the shearling, and then there's 4 different colours. So we've got like a distressed kind of like classic blue, an ocean kind of like turquoisey colour, which is my favourite. That's by All Saints, and then that really like pale one, which I'm not sure about the pale one because it's got the big rips in the shoulders, and I'm not sure if that's my style. But I'm just quickly stopping to talk about this shearling jacket here. This is from Diesel, and I probably got this 7 years ago, and every single year I go through my wardrobe clear outs, as you may have seen on my channels, and I always keep this and I never wear it. I feel like it could be rehomed and worn. And I think one of the exercises of today really was to establish whether there were items in my wardrobe that were damaged, that needed repairing, or whether they didn't fit correctly and could be altered, or if there are any items that I felt were missing in my wardrobe and I needed to fill that gap. This door is going wild today. 2 seconds. Sorry about that. And so one of the things that I think that perhaps I overlooked were the whole purpose of doing it in this manner this year is to try to get more wear out of items of clothing. And this jacket in particular, as I mentioned, I've just kept hold of it, but I'm not wearing it. And it's pointless to keep it in my wardrobe if I'm not going to wear it, because it can be rehomed and it can get lots of wear out of it. Because unlike some of the items that I'm talking about having repaired, like the Zara jacket over there, this has got absolutely nothing wrong with it. So this could be rehomed and worn and loved by someone else, and instead it's just sat in my wardrobe for a very, very long time. And so I think that's something that I didn't really think about. It was kind of like my theory and my process today was to find out if something fitted me, and if it fitted me correctly and it wasn't in a bad condition, then I was going to keep hold of it. But that doesn't consider items that then don't get worn. Just because they fit that bill, they then don't go and get worn. So I think there are a couple of items that I'm actually going to put together for the purpose of rehoming them to somebody or to a charity where they're gonna get worn, because it's pointless having clothes in your wardrobe if they're not gonna get worn. And like I said about the navy jackets and the denim jackets, there is in some instances a function and a purpose behind having a similar clothes, but some of the jackets that I have are maybe a little bit too similar that it wouldn't really matter whether I wore one or the other in terms of piecing together an outfit and a look and functionality. And so in that instance, then I should probably just slim that down, keep one of those 2 jackets, and then rehome one of the other jackets. So I think that's maybe a little process that I hadn't considered, that I wanted to just jump in and say that that's now become something that I'm considering whilst I'm going through these pieces. So this will be one of the jackets that I'll probably look to rehome. I'm finding that a lot of the items are actually fine. I'm going to be keeping hold of them. And in terms of pieces that I want to add in to my wardrobe in this kind of section area, I would say the one thing that I'm lacking is the slightly more sartorial style jacket. So as an example, this linen field jacket here from Onslow. This is made of a linen, so it's obviously awesome for spring, summer. Probably going to be a little bit too chilly in the winter for sure, and possibly the autumn. We'll have to give it a try. It'll be my first season trying this, but this slightly more sartorial style that I want to try to really home in on. You may have noticed in a lot of like my Teresa videos and stuff that the clothes that I'm investing in are a lot smarter, and that's the sort of look I'm going for. A lot of the jackets that I've got on the rails, although the denims and the leathers and these sort of like suedes and stuff that I've got going on over here, they are quite timeless pieces. They're a little bit more casual than the kind of style that I'm going for at the moment. So I think the gap in this part of my wardrobe is probably the slightly more smarter jackets that when I'm wearing trousers and I want to be dressed up a little bit more. So I'm going to keep my eye out on the market for some pieces that I can add to this collection. The dogs are going wild down there. Doing this is actually also quite a nice little reminder of what you actually have, because it's very easy to forget what you've got in your wardrobes. And so to get things out, to try them on, to sort of like refresh your memory and see how things look when you're wearing them, it kind of like A, inspires outfit ideas, but B, it reminds you that you have that piece. And I kind of now think about my clothing as, where would I wear it? So rather than me just be styling up a look, I'm like, where would I wear that item of clothing? Where does it fit in? And so I'll consider things like, well, this is the sort of item that I would like to wear if I was going down to the local pub with my mates, because I don't want to be too overdressed. Perhaps the more sartorial style is a little bit too much for where I live, but if I'm going out in London to a nice bar, or certainly if I'm going somewhere with Lydia, that would be the item that I would select over maybe some of the more casual pieces. So there are different items that I look to have in my wardrobe for different occasions. That's something that certainly has been considered in this selection today. But yeah, that's basically why I was jumping in now quickly, just to say that this is a thought process that's changed the way that I'm going about my business today. So next on the agenda is my suit and trouser cupboard. We're going to go through this, and then I think that's going to be the last task of the day. So we're going to be sorting out trousers, stuff that's on the floor, suits, and I think that's going to be enough. Currently coming up to 6 PM. Not going to get much more done, but at the moment we have a jacket that's going to be going in for repair, and these are the tops that I'm going to be handing down to somebody else because they're either too small, which is what these top three are, or the shirling on the floor, as I mentioned a second ago, just doesn't get the wear.
Take my boots off. Take the boot pull out of the car.
It's so tough, but they're not comfortable. It's so weird, like all of my jackets, I'm not sure whether this is how I used to buy them to fit this tightly. They're all just really uncomfortably tight.
Maybe because your arms are bigger, babe.
It could be, yeah.
It could be.
But it's literally like almost every jacket lids.
Yeah, because you started getting more into your suit fashion when you were rather slim.
Yeah. But that's painfully expensive, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jackets that are actually too tight. Include this little puppy here.
You know what I'm going to do?
What?
I'm going to go on the bed before.
So what I feared is what I'm finding. You can see just here there's a lot of pull on my quad, and what it does is it runs this straight seam out as I move and tugs on it, and unfortunately it loses the nice shape that a trouser should have, and it's obviously because my legs have grown a little bit. They kind of look nice because they look nice and slim. Same as the jacket, it looks nice because it's nice and slim, but I can hardly move my arm up without nearly ripping. You can see where it's all pulling down the side of the jacket, possibly. Maybe I'll do it this way, you'll see it better. See the creases. As Lydia just stated to me as she walked past, it's because when I initially got into tailoring and starting to invest some money into some nice suits and stuff, I was a lot slimmer. And now I've put on a bit of weight and a bit of size, they no longer fit me. And unfortunately, some of these haven't got enough give in them to be able to have anything let out. So it's actually quite sad because there's a lot of suits and a lot of them don't fit me anymore. So I'm going to have to strategically think about how I'm going to sort this out, because at the moment it doesn't look like I've got a black suit that fits me correctly. It doesn't look like I've got a navy suit that fit me correctly. And in all honesty, you only really need 2 of each. And the reason why I say you need 2 is because one needs to be worn formally, and then one can be tailored as a more relaxed look. So the difference, I guess, really is in the trouser length. So if I was going for a slightly more casual suit in a navy, I would go for slightly more cropped trouser length so I can wear them with a loafer. And if I was looking to have something that was a bit more formal, then of course I would take the trouser all the way to the shoe and wear them with socks. So I need to look at the rest of the suits, but at the moment it's not looking too promising. Very sad, but hey ho. Right, so as you can see, the rails have pretty much been cleared down and the suits are back into the cupboard. Not as bad as I thought. I think the suit that upsets me the most is probably this double-breasted suit from Reese, because I know it's really hard to see on the camera. I absolutely love the fabric and finish of this suit. It's kind of matte with a very soft shine to it. The jacket itself fits me so lovely, but the trousers are super tight, and I've checked the lining, and I actually remember having the conversation a while ago, because I have had these trousers in before, about letting them out a bit, and there is absolutely nothing left in them. So unfortunately the trousers are too tight, but I'm going to see. At worst I'll keep the jacket and ditch the trousers, because it is a nice jacket, but it would be, I don't know what to do about that. But the rest of it I think I can get away with. Anything on the right of this cream suit here is just the jacket, so this isn't a suit. I actually kept the jacket from one suit here because the trousers were actually tailored really badly. Had this tailored a long time ago, and on the bum there was like a big baggy bit, as well as them being too tight around the legs with no give. So I don't even know if they're really good to give away, because they're not well fitted at all. And then everything to the left is a suit, so from here onwards these are all suits bar the gilet, and this is technically a two-piece, but it's not a suit, it's like a jogger track suit thing. So yeah, I have 3 tuxedo jackets here and 2 well-fitted, or 1 well-fitting trousers. No, 2 well-fitting trousers. So you'll see over here, this is the rest of the 3-piece from that jacket that I'm going to keep with the bad trousers. So the waistcoat can be rehomed. This is a blazer that's too small. In fact, everything you're looking at here is too small, and there isn't anything in it that can be done to make them larger. So we've got a Ted Baker suit here. I actually purchased this a few years ago when I was doing a lot of work with long jeans, and we had to wear suits to go to the horse event, so that's too tight now, sadly. These are 2 jackets. This jacket here was bought when I went to be the best man at my best friend's wedding, and sadly that's very tight now. And then over on the back you'll see there's 3 pairs of trousers. These are all too tight and no give in them, so we'll find somebody that's a little bit smaller than I am, and this stuff can be rehomed. But anyway, looking a little bit more organised in here at the moment. The trousers that are hanging up, I know that predominantly all of those fit. I know the white trousers are a little bit tight. Haven't tried on the distressed jeans in a while, or the black jeans, but the rest of it is pretty good. This pair of trousers you can see here at the ends, this is part of a suit. I need to take that into Suster and Hicks, because there was space in that lining to have that let out a little bit, so we might be able to save that suit. And then obviously I've got the jacket over on the door that's going to be repaired. So I think everything down the bottom, all the trousers and joggers in there, I need to go through and try on another day, but the day has come to an end. I definitely achieved a lot less than I set out to do, but I feel like I've got a little bit more of an understanding now as to what it is that I need for autumn, and a lot of it's just getting some items adjusted, and then 1 or 2 extra pieces that potentially need to be upgraded or replaced, and we're looking pretty good. And then the next task would be to look at footwear. I know that I've got quite a few pairs of good boots. Boots are pretty durable. A lot of footwear tends to get pretty worn quickly because obviously it's on the ground and using them. Certainly white trainers, I think I've had this discussion before. I pretty much buy a pair of white trainers every year because they just get trashed over the summer. So boots are not too bad, but I'll probably add 1 or 2 pairs this year, and then my suede and loafers and everything, they'll be put away for the season until next summer. So yeah, we'll go through footwear another time, but not a bad day really. It's always one of those jobs that takes a lot longer than I appreciate, and I haven't actually disposed of many clothes at all because, as mentioned, I don't plan on picking loads of new clothes up, so it's just going to be small purchases that are going to be a little bit more of an investment rather than just replacing lots of pieces, and obviously getting rid of anything that doesn't fit. And I showed you this stuff earlier, didn't I? That's out there. So yeah, this is going to be going. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up, go downstairs and get myself some dinner. Lydia's come home after a long day's shoot and she's absolutely exhausted, so I think probably going to join her and catch up on a little bit of TV, which I haven't actually done in ages because I'm not watching Love Island and Lydia does watch Love Island. So while she's watching that, I tend to just go and do something else and keep myself busy. She would have watched this evening's episode by the time I'm sitting down to watch TV, so we can probably watch something else, which would be nice. I hope you did enjoy today's video. I feel like it was probably a while until we got into this wardrobe because we covered a few other things, but things need to be done. There's still lots to do, like clearing out this loft space, which is an absolute state at the moment. I hope you're all having a good week so far, and I look forward to catching you next Wednesday, 5 o'clock. Peace.